Hello, hello. Today, my throat. Ow! Today. Oh my god. Today, I will be reading Omnia, Vincit, Amor Part 2. Currently at my parents' house. And this is, different. Because my sister and my baby sister still live here. So, I'm surprised it's not louder. I had to wait, so long to be able to film this in peace. And I'm probably going to get some interruptions, but I'll just edit them out or something. And if my throat sounds different, which it probably doesn't, but to me it just feels different. It's because my mom put a new spice. I made them dinner because I love to cook. I went to I like to cook. I'm going to keep the other part out. I like to cook and I like to bake. So I'm like, hey, now that I'm at my parents' house, why not just make them dinner? Because, they did so much for me already. Why not make them dinner or something? Just to show how much I appreciate it for them. I made them dinner and I didn't know. I did know. I just forgot that what the spice that my mom brought was something I was allergic to. So I had an allergic reaction at 5. And now I feel shitty. My throat feels shitty. But that's not the point. Today, which I am glad for. Today, thank you. Today, I will be reading Omnia, Vincit, Amor Part 2. And this is something I've been anticipating for a long time. Because the last part made me cry. And last part made me cry because, I died, Your name died. Also, I need a name for your name. For YN. Because it kind of feels odd saying YN every single time that it comes up. And I do have a friend who suggested using Yasmin because it starts with Y and then ASMIN. So it starts with Y and then it ends with N. Or I could use Emerson because it's a non-binary name. But you let me know suggestions or stuff. I need to read. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. My brain. No, my neck. No. Okay, no, never mind. Omnia, Vincit, Amor Part 2. It was requested. The summary is Natasha and Wanda are trying to move on after you're gone because you let me die. Pairings are Wanda and Natasha and platonic relationship with your name. Word count 2,486. I have no idea how long the other one was. I read it. I said how long. Not okay. I'm not doing this right now. Warnings. Grave mentions of death. A child. I feel that warning. A child. Just because you need it. But that's not the point. I'm gonna start reading. I'm just gonna start reading. First comes love. Love came in many forms at unexpected times. In the Red Room, Natasha had resigned herself to never experiencing it. When you came out to her, you told her it was an experience you would never get to have. Both of you had been wrong. One might have been Natasha's first love, but you had been the first to show her love. And she had loved you back just as much. The love was a different form to what the two of you had discussed, but in Natasha's eyes, it was just as equal. But she let you die. Then comes marriage. The road to marriage was the longest step for Natasha. She had been ready, and you'd pushed her towards it for so long. But she delayed it with her worries. You'd been the first person to see Natasha and Wanda would work well together, despite claiming romance wasn't your area and diverting from that with jokes. But all Natasha wanted now was to hear your stupid a romantic joke again. Even when she had been too nervous to ask Wanda out, you had been encouraging, even getting closer to Wanda to confirm she felt the same about Natasha. You'd been their matchmaker, their cheerleader through the relationship. And so Natasha had no second thoughts when she came to you with her plan to propose. You'd kept Wanda entertained and distracted when Natasha needed time to search for rings or plan the event. You'd sat with her as she stressed, reminding her that Wanda would love it regardless. And we're even going to the part of the day setting up the scene for Natasha and Wanda to stumble into and hiding nearby to record. It was planned to be in the mini break each eventer got after each mission, since, of course, all three of you wouldn't have it to at the same time. But you didn't make it back. The ring was hidden in your room to stop Wanda from finding it. Natasha didn't even have it in her to enter your room afterwards, much less propose without you by her side. Another year passed before she found it in her to ask the question. Wanda said yes, of course. She cried tears of joy, but Natasha's tears were of another form. The year leading to the wedding was eventful. It was full of planning, missions, events, anything Natasha could to take to ignore the hole in it all. She overworked herself, drove herself to the brink of exhaustion, and it was worrying Wanda. The witch mourned for you still. She cried on the big moments you were missing, but her grief had subsided enough to continue living. She worried Natasha's hadn't. I asked Pietro to give a speech for my side of the wedding today. Wanda spoke softly, approaching her fiancé as one would a wounded animal. Natasha lay atop their bed, fully clothed, her chest rising and falling with her breathing, but otherwise she lay motionless. She stared at the ceiling, not even acknowledging Wanda's presence, until the woman gently set a hand on her arm. The assassin flinched. Natasha, are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. Of course I am, she defended quickly. I proposed, didn't I? You were in a better place then. I know it's made you think of your name more. You've been growing more absent, physically and mentally, crying more, being more reckless on missions. You're not okay, my love. At that, Natasha's eyes finally snapped to Wanda's, tears brimming within them. I'm trying. I really am. I want the wedding to be perfect for you. I want to be able to confirm my love, but they were meant to be here. The tears flowed steadily now, sobs racking through Natasha's body as she curled tighter. How is it meant to be perfect when they can't be here? Wanda wanted more than anything to comfort Natasha, to solve their issue with a snap of her fingers, but she couldn't, and so she would have to take it the long way, starting with finding the correct words to say. She sat beside her partner first, pulling her in so that Natasha would have a better position to cry on, and giving Wanda access to stroke circles slowly on Natasha's back, physically relaxing her as best as she could. Grief isn't linear, Wanda began. He had better days. He made plans, pretty big plans, that got a weak scoff. But at the end of the day, they're still just plans. Things change, and if this is getting too hard to keep having reminders of your name, we can take a step back. Grief is tiring, but there's no time limit. You rest as long as you need, and then you take the step forward. And if I go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, what then? You'd stick with me then? Well, then it's like a dance, and I'll always stick with you for a dance. It was hard to see Natasha like she was, bitter and self-deprecating. Wanda tried her best to heal the grieving side, but she knew there were another part, the part which felt guilt for choosing Wanda. I want to do it still. Take the next step forward. Natasha spoke, breaking the thoughtfulness silence that had lain in between several minutes. Step forward with you. Wanda looked down, letting a small smile grace her features as she assessed Natasha. Then that's what we can do. She spoke to them through. I think it could help. Natasha put that off too. It was the eve of her own wedding before she decided to visit. I know you would be so excited tonight, she called. Probably would have convinced me to sleep in your room. My dress on display, your outfit probably hanging next to it. I guess you'll be glad to know Wanda's in her own room tonight. We won't be seeing each other again until the wedding. Following the rules and sticking and all that. You were always a stickler for the rules. Clinton is acting as the best man for me, even if he could probably double up as pastor of the bride for both Wanda and me. Don't tell him I said that. Wanda let a small laugh loose. With it, she let her torso drop closer until her head rested on your gravestone. You know, I would have asked you. You would have said yes. So I'm not convinced you'd make such a great speech from where you are now. I miss you. That doesn't change no matter how many days pass. I miss you more than I ever thought possible, and I'm sorry I let you fall. I didn't make the right choice. I didn't make the wrong choice either. It took me a long time to realize that. I'm still sorry I let you fall. I wish on everything that the day had gone differently. Maybe we didn't take the mission, or we fought better, or I knew how to catch you both. I'm sorry. I think I'm just saying things now, Natasha huffed, her tears showing in the moonlight, letting the slight smile she hid on her face. We picked a really peaceful spot for you. I almost don't want to go, but I have to. I'm getting married tomorrow. You remember all those times we'd sit outside and I'd bore you with romance talk? You'd be so fed up of it by now, wouldn't you? Okay, I need to go now. Natasha stood up, brushing the dirt off of herself as she did, but before she left, her head had turned back, whispering at the stone. I really don't think I'd survive losing you. I don't think I would have without Wanda. So just know you chose well, finding a partner for me. I don't know what other choices you had, but if I'd chosen differently and lost Wanda, I know you would have gotten through me, too. Thank you for being my best friend. Then comes baby in the carriage. Only a couple years after the marriage, and Wanda had given birth to her child. The name had been decided before Wanda was even pregnant. Your name. It would have been your name. The couple took time off for missions to look after their kid, but it was only when they had a 3-year-old that they finally decided to retire for good. Move on to the next stage of their life, and that included moving out of the compound. Say bye-bye to this compound, sweetie. Wanda prompted it was safe, and it would keep the 3-year-old entertained long enough for Wanda and Natasha to pack their rooms. Wanda had been packing her old room while Natasha looked after theirs, but after letting her name go, she stopped in to check on her wife. Oh, love, was the instant reaction. Much of the room was in boxes, but Natasha sat hunched on the floor, a small wooden frame on her lap. She tilted her head up to Wanda's with a weak smile, through tears tracked down her face. Wanda gave a small nod towards the item Natasha held. What's the photo? The spy tried to speak, but her voice came out no longer than a whisper. Your name and I. We used to spend so much time in our rooms just watching films and playing games. They used to help me take a break when we first joined the Avengers. I'd forgotten we took the photos too. Wanda sat beside her, trying her best to comfort Natasha and wiping the tears from her wife's face. Natasha kept turning back to the picture, though, and with every glance at the tears were renewed. How about we take a break from this? Wanda suggested. Go see how Your Name is doing. I can keep packing. Natasha did as her wife asked, wandering the halls in an attempt to track her own offspring. There were no signs until she noticed one door slightly ajar. A door which should definitely not be open, the one that led to your room. Your name! Natasha ran in, ready to drag her child out. Your room was a preservation of how it was when it died, untouched, save for the occasional dusting. Natasha couldn't bear to change it, and she didn't want her child messing it up either. The sudden panic dissipated the second Natasha entered. Instead, it was replaced by the memories of times long gone, preparing for parties, gossiping, venting, and crying. Your room had been a sanctuary available to Natasha at all times. Her formative years as an Avenger had been spent with you. In that room in the compound, and at that near identical looking one you had at the tower. The location of the room didn't matter. It was special because it had you in it. Several years had passed since she'd been in there last. 7 years since you had been in there. But it brought discomfort. Natasha relaxed. She took in the room as if nothing had changed, and then she turned her attention to her child. Minnie, your name was currently under your old bed, and Natasha smiled slightly as she snuck up to pull them out, laughing at the squeal that sounded. "I've got you, my love," the former assassin teased, holding your name up as they squirmed to escape, filling the room with the laughter had been devoid for 7 years. "Want book?" the child whined, through giggling at Natasha's movements. "Which book?" "Your name?" Natasha set her foot slowly, looking down under the bed to where they were pointing. A small but swollen look underneath. The name, your name, written on the side, in what was unmistakably your handwriting. Natasha would have left it alone had Wanda and Natasha not also been written inside of it. She slid it out with care, hands trembling with such precious objects. Your name watched quietly as Natasha opened the first page. A selfie you had taken dominated half of the page. Half your face and a peace sign were front and center, but it was clear the focus was on the background. It was her and Wanda, outside the younger woman's room, mid-kiss. "I think she said yes," read the caption, a small note in the corner attributing the photo to the day Natasha first asked Wanda out, and the date of their first kiss. A small moment you had captured and documented, more likely for the benefit than yours. "Your name?" her child repeated. "Yeah, that's your name, baby. This is the person you were named after." With a melancholic smile, Natasha indicated for your name to sit on her lap, showing them the book and flipping through the pages. It became clear that you dedicated a page to each of the friend dates she and Wanda had taken you on. A picture on each one, sometimes the three of you posing, sometimes you making a face at a candid scene of her and Wanda doing something too date-like. A caption and a date accompanied each page. It was a physical record of your friendship, one that Natasha sorely missed, but you'd also caught all the important scenes of her and Wanda's dating, providing a timeline in history with neither of them even knowing you were doing it. Once again, tears streaked with like art along Natasha's skin, but for the first time, she was glad for it. They came from missing you, of course, but they weren't just from sadness, but from something sweet. Reliving her happy moments with you, you had caused their happiness one more time, even 7 years in the grave. Besides, if you had shown her that in person, you would be expecting her to cry, probably waiting to record how you made the emotionless Black Widow cry. If only you knew how much she cried for you, she wouldn't stop them. No, this time she let them fall freely, sitting through the pages and explaining their significance to Minnie, your name. The 3-year-old wouldn't understand, but the words kept them occupied, and stating it out loud reminded Natasha how real the memories were. Wanda walked in, leaning against the doorframe as Natasha reached the last page. You'd given it a title, a penciled-in date, but nobody would have known that you wouldn't be there to take the photo. "We should add a photo to this page. What do you think, your name?" Natasha rambled, looking up to smile at Wanda. "We've got a bit more to add than that," her wife smiled, coming in to scoop your name. Natasha nodded. She had her 2 loves, and a gift from her 3rd. They still got her happy ending. She only wished you could be there to join it. Okay, so I might have fucked up on this story. I'm currently filming this like at 3 a.m. in the morning because, you know, I can't, your girl has trouble sleeping. If I were to count how many hours I get to sleep in a year, I'd say 7 total hours in a year, which I know is probably inhumanely, I don't know how to pronounce that word, impossible, but I do. I even did the calculations once. I got like 7 or 8 hours of sleep, something like that, but I know it was less than 8 and more than 7, so in between. I am filming this at 3 in the morning, and my voice is failing me right now. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose it or something. And also, I started to cry during this story because, it got to me. I cried like the first 3 times I read this, and I read this a total, I think, about 16 times. I cried the first times I read it, and then I stopped crying because I already knew what happened. And then I stopped reading it for a bit, and then I read it again before I filmed, and now I'm reading it here when I filmed. And I didn't think I was gonna cry, and yet here I am. I wish I didn't put mascara on. I mean, I never take my mascara off unless it's necessary. But I forgot to take my mascara off, and now I wish I didn't put it on in the morning. Because now it's all over my face and I look like a raccoon. I love this story. And I know I probably messed up some of the words or sentences. At one point, I felt like I was at the very last at filming this, and I was rehearing what I read, and I'm like, oh no, I fucked that up. I'm gonna have to restart it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put the link in there, and I know I should probably give you guys the best quality of stuff. But right now, I just do not have it in me to film again at 3 a.m. And I'm not gonna be able to film for like tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to film tomorrow. But I know that I have some pre-recorded stories. I have some pre-recorded stories, so I'm going to take all of those out, like all of the stories I have pre-recorded, and I'm gonna post them all tomorrow. It is currently, I don't know what time it is. Or I might just post them today. I don't know. I still have to finish editing this part. I kind of just split my videos into like pieces. So like I'll do the intro, and then I'll do the story, and then I'll do the outro. And then like at different times of days and different days in general. And then I just like mash them up together and I post them on the same day. So that's what I did with this story. And I recorded all of this on a different day. No, different times actually. I should probably stop talking, you know? Okay, anyways. Thank you for letting me read this. These are 2 wonderful stories. Omnia, Vincit, Amor, Part 1, where you let Natasha kill me. Not necessarily kill me, but she saved Wanda and not me. But like, not that I'm jealous or anything. I'm just kind of wounded because we've been through a lot. But you know, I know love is always going to win. Which is what Omnia, Vincit, Amor means. Duh. Love conquers all. Okay. Thank you for letting me read these 2 stories. Parts, actually. I will put the link in the description to both the story and their blog and my information. Okay, have a wonderful day. No, actually. No, yeah. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.